Come on, man. Excellent. What the hell is that line? What is that line? Is that? Oh my gosh, there you go. All right. I don't know who'll be watching. I just happened. I told the guys that I was going to be doing a Buff and a Kirby, and then I saw this post, and I said, "AI is of China that introduced a concept for a right or a robot that can carry a bio bag style wound. The bio bag came out in like 2017. Um, it's a it really is just the way it was pictured at the time. It does give you a scary look of like a factory with a bunch of uh, cryo chamber type embryonic bags and stuff like that, where you have artificial embryonic fluid, and then somehow you get the egg and the sperm, and a baby is made, like test tube baby type stuff. And I said, wait a second, what kind of a let's just play this out all the way, right? And to say, okay, let's say this went, because it's in concept, so they're not manufacturing it yet. Um, but one thing comes after the next, and then the next, and the next. Just assume eventually it'll be done. Let's just say that eventually they'll get it. Like the electric car was a concept for a long time, right? But when you talk about electric car, you can say, well, what would the electric car have in our society, right? Then you could probably outline like some people think is going to be better on the environment, and other people think that is probably going to be about the same or worse, because you're going to still need the same fuel to fuel the electricity for the cars, unless you use some kind of clean energy, da 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 da, right? So there are people who can at least iron out the possible ramifications of whether it's a net positive or um, well, it's a positive, but you have to look out for these things. That kind of talk. I'm just taping off the thing here, and I'm like, okay, so in this case, what would be what's the ramification? The net positive. Let's talk. The net positive could be there are women that, for some medical reason, can't go to full term, right? And they say this thing will cost like 13,000 US dollars, right? So it's like, okay, well then, all right, I can see how that would work, and then you can see how the commercialization of it can move to play now, where people who just want to have keep their body tight, or they want to keep moving. And so my wife said, so what's it gonna be like? People just walk into like a store, or whatever company is, and just say, I'm placing my order, I'm picking up my order, picking up my I'm picking up my order, all boy or girl or whatever, right? And then when the mom, let's say it's a society thing, like it's all the way across the board. Let's just assume this is the way it is, right? Because you go to worst case scenario, right, and say, okay, so if this is a society, would it interfere with our natural attraction and tendency to um, find a mate? Because it's like a natural imperative, right? Would it interfere with our survival skill, let's say, self-preservation type stuff, where we have children, and um, it's part love and all that stuff, but it's part our biology. It's part the way we're kind of wired, like blood cells, like they're wired to do certain things, right? And we might be like that kind of organism. Who knows, right? And I said, well, how that I could see, because then because they go from, well, you don't need a man and all this stuff, and then you're like, okay, now we're gonna really make it that you don't need a man. It's, well, you need a man for sperm, all right. But then you have some guys who say, well, I'll just donate. We'll make some money donating sperm. So you get you order the kind of sperm you want based on you know what I'm saying? Like, what would happen? Well, if you played it all the way out, how would we live if that is not a part of our thinking, our natural thinking? Like, now every baby is on order, and everyone bought themselves a robot or something, and now everyone works, and nobody has time to even stop and have a baby, right? And then the 9 months of that a woman would carry a baby and the kind of intimacy they grow together. If a society, if that's eliminated out of society, what would it look like to raise those kids? You know? And anyway, that's me muddling over like silly stuff that, they're talking peace deals and all this stuff, and I'm thinking about robots. It's, yeah, inflation. There's stuff to consider, but sometimes you got to stop thinking about that stuff just for a second and just wonder and let your mind go on and wonder, and then come back to all the real craziness that's going on. Because I don't know, maybe one day that wonder stuff will become our real thing. We'll be debating, you know, about laws about artificial wombs. So one day it would be something that we'll be voting on. Imagine that. So anyway. All right, so guys, I'm just gonna work, man. I just have the camera on at this point. So I just taped this thing up. So I didn't want to. Now I'm probably gonna end up having to do something with these scratches here. But I just want to clean it to a point where I can see what I'm actually working with and how deep down the scratches are. You know, let me see how deep down they are, and then from there I'll decide whether or not I need to sand it. Because when you have scratches on a KIRBY like this, right, you might be able to buff it out because it's not really that deep. But there's some that you have to sand. Okay, you go from I would say maybe a 180 grit to a 320. Get yourself to a 400. And then when you get to 600, okay, then it should be smooth enough for you to buff it and not leave any little dimples in here, okay? About 600 should be where you're good at, all right, to start doing that. And you may not have to even take all those numbers I just laid out. You could start at 320 to 400 to 6, or you could do, 4 don't do much to cut this kind of stuff, so you would have to start higher. I'll give you an example. Let me show you. Okay, so, which side can I'll show you on this side. Okay, so take a look at these, right? If you can see it. Hey guys, who's over there? Guitar Jam, yo, you're back. Ever see the movie Demolition Man? Yeah, Stallone. Yeah, yep, you're right. You're right. Hey, Matt, what's up, man? You're right. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like I know movies like that are, like that was the way we thought the future would look like back then, right? And now today, when we look towards the future, it looks different than what we would have even thought of back then, right? So now you look back on it, but there's a lot of real in that Demolition Man. It would be very stiff. Because I don't think I want to live in a world like that, man. You know what I'm saying? That means everything you say online, you can't say what you want to say. Some guys come on our thread, on our chat, and they'll say the most outrageous stuff. And that's all good, because that gives us our uniqueness. But when you stifle that, and then you stifle intimacy, and you know what I'm saying? And then I do not want to live in a world like that, man. For real. That's crazy. And a lot of people would prefer it like that. And that's Anyway, let me show you how I sand this thing. I don't want to move this right now because this is my makeshift table. All right. And if I don't see all the chats, guys, I'm sorry, because I'm like, I gotta squint and see all this stuff. Yeah, right. Imagine they outlaw cussing. You can't. It's against the law, right? Or just stuff, man. You know, right now is just a social thing. You know, like it's a social thing. But then imagine if you get caught. 'Cause I don't know, bro. There's a lot of extremes on both sides of the way we look at stuff, and both extremes are not good. You know, both extremes are not good. Let me sand this a little bit. See, this didn't do much. This is a. Let me tell you what this is. This is a. This did not do much, guys. See, this is a 320. See, so I'm gonna show you what it looked like. So this is a 320, right? So right now, all the 320 did was kind of smooth out something, but it didn't remove the scratches. Okay, so if I wanted to actually remove the scratches, I would use the 180. Okay, I used to, man, look, I was in hard because I was selling them for like a year. I was just selling off all my old Kirby's online on like eBay and stuff like that. I just moved them all out, man. I was moving a lot. And so I started with 80 grit. Then I went to I think not 120. Is there a 120? I know there's a 180, but I started at 80, and it was deep. Yeah, dude, that one had you working all day. It was deep cuts, and then I had to then I smoothed it down. Then I went to, by the time I got to 300, 320, and 4, it was just nice smooth surface, and then I just had to buff it and cut it. But if you start at 320, you're gonna have a tough time. So you don't wanna, this is kind of a finisher. So think of 320, 400 and 600 as finishers, okay? And think of your 220 and 180 and on rare occasions 80 as your starters, your cutters. So you have your cutters, your finishers, and then now you have your polisher. Just look at it in those steps, okay? So I'm gonna still buff it right now, but I know I'm gonna have to end up probably cutting this deeper, okay? But still, all right? So I'm starting with my, you know what, let me change my glasses, put on my goggles, okay? So, and then also if you have like a shirt that you don't care about too much, or you have a protective overall, do that. Damn, something got on my goggles. It's all blurry. Hold on, I'm gonna try to clean my goggles here real quick. Let me see if I can read what we're seeing here. You know what? I'm gonna have to get my laptop, man, so I can see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Don't worry, I'll pull it off. I'll get my laptop. I'm gonna get my laptop. Give me a second, guys, because I can't see nothing. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Got my goggles, my little protection stuff. Okay. These are my buffing gloves, so you can see how they get like this. Okay. And let me get my laptop. Give me a sec. All right. Back in action. Gosh. Okay. Okay. Got my laptop. All right. Give me 1 sec to get myself hooked up here. You know what's funny? You know why I think we, the way the movies are being made now, where a lot of us are just not happy with it. I think, honestly, me personally, besides the politics stuff and the you know, besides all the preaching, whatever, you know, my my oh man, my son, we were watching, hold on, let me say what I'm doing here. I was working on a template. We were watching, we started watching The Woman King on HBO, and I never watched it in the movies because I thought it was like, I don't want to see that. And so Ethan said, "Isn't that a little bit of Woman King? Why they trying so hard?" So my kid is 16 years old. It's like, come on, man. Oh my God. And I said, so I said, you know, yeah. Other than all the little messages they try to tell the audience, right? I think messages were always in movies, but I think they were just. I think the guys cared more about the art than the right, and so I think the movies they started to eliminate imagination. Damn, this thing is, I don't know what's going on. Excuse this little whatever this damn this light. I think it's, you know what, let me bring it closer. I think it's just the sun glaring off the top of this thing. So yeah, because think about it. When you didn't have the technology, right? A lot of the scare and a lot of the drama was left up to your imagination. And the better the technology got, damn, I'm sorry guys, this glare is just not going away. This glare, damn boy, I got away. And but also in the writing, they're telling you everything, so you don't even have to imagine the romance. They relied a lot more on the look a person would give. The guy turned around to see her walk away. You know, they relied a lot more on those things rather than telling you that they like each other. So when you start eliminating a lot of the imagination from the audience, the people just, I think we're rejecting it. And hold on, I'm up there. But I don't know, man. These guys they've been sucking lately. These movies, they've been sucking bad lately. Okay, for a couple